There is always more ways you can serve your audience, more ways you can make sales, following up leads, making sure your audience knows which offer is the best fit for them, making sure they know how it solves the problems they're experiencing, creating new offers to solve new problems that your audience is experiencing, re-engaging past students and clients and finding out what else you can help them with, asking your audience, what else do you need help with right now? And then creating those new offers that help them with what they want, or reworking your old offers to better serve them where they're at right now. Hey, welcome back to Imperfect Action. This is episode 733. Today, I'm sharing a couple of the questions that I'm reflecting on as we wrap up 2023 and start to head into 2024. So a bunch of different questions that I will be journaling on or thinking about in the coming month or so as we start to really think about how the next iteration of this business will look next year. And I encourage you to take some of these questions, tweak them if you need to suit your business a little bit more, and really set aside some time for thinking and deep reflecting. I think that's one thing that we don't do enough as business owners. We get so caught up in the day-to-day doing that we forget to take a step back and ask ourselves what our business needs from us and give our business that attention and that love that it needs from our peace and quiet and thinking time. So the first question that I'm reflecting on is, what is the next level of my business and what is stopping me from getting there? So what does that next level look like? What do I do in that next level of my business? What don't I do? That's just as important as the things that I do, because the things that I say no to then free up my time for a more intentional yes to the things that I want to do. What is stopping me from getting to that next level of my business? For example, I have a terrible habit where I will often leave recording these podcast episodes to the very last minute, and then it creates chaos for me, for my team, and that chaos is not the best use of any of our time and energy. Another thing that holds me back is believing that it's not possible for me. And I know that many of you struggle with this one as well, where it's like, oh, well, that person achieved it, but I couldn't do it because, and then you come up with a whole list of excuses and justifications why it's not possible for you. I sometimes struggle with that one as well. And then once I have a list of things that I need to change, then I can take imperfect action in my business to change those things. But I need to have that list of things to change first. And that's where taking the time to reflect on that question can be so valuable. Question number 2, who does the next level of my business require me to be? So in other words, the person who attracts this kind of business would ... What kind of things do I need to do and who do I need to be to attract that next level of my business? And as the captain at the helm of this business, how I show up impacts everything. And this is why I have invested tens of thousands of dollars in my own personal development and growth, coaching, mindset, all of those things, because how I show up impacts everybody. It impacts my team, it impacts my students, it impacts my audience, my listeners. And I know that when one area of my life is off, even if that doesn't directly impact my business, it has a massive indirect impact on my business because everything is connected. And sometimes my business might also require me to let go of something. For example, I have needed to let go of the need for things to be perfect, right? Because there is no such thing as perfect. And for us to produce as a team, to produce the amount of content that we put out there, and for me to be able to deliver offers that really impact my audience, I can't sit around and wait for things to be perfect because otherwise they would never get done. I've also had to let go of this need for certainty because there is literally nothing that is certain other than the sun will rise tomorrow. That is probably the only certain thing. And even that's not 100% certain. So I've had to let go of this need for certainty within my business because it definitely does not exist. There is no certainty. I've also learned that there is no such thing as a bad behavior. No behavior is bad. It all serves a purpose for us at that point in time. For example, perfectionism, that keeps me safe from failure and uncertainty. But sometimes the impact of that behavior can hold your business back from growing. And that is where you then need to make a bit of a decision around, do I want to keep doing this? So taking a minute to ask yourself, how is this behavior that I don't like? How is this serving me? That can be a great reflection tool, and it can help you to get a little bit out of the, like shame and guilt of like, why do I keep procrastinating? Why do I keep being a perfectionist? When you start to realize actually you're doing it because it's keeping you safe, or you're doing it because it's serving you in some other way. It's not inherently a bad thing. It's just stopping you from growing to that next level in your business. And that is a sign that you maybe need to change that a little bit. Question number 3 to reflect on. What decisions would I make if I knew my success was inevitable? What would I start doing or stop doing in my business? And maybe for you, would you start a podcast? Would you create and launch that course? Would you start showing up online, putting your face out there, doing video, doing anything online that it feels a little bit scary for you right now? How would you show up differently for your business every day if you had 100% certainty that you would succeed? Would you make decisions from a place of confidence and certainty? Would you make them from a place of fear? Because decisions that come from a place of fear are often short-term. They're often not serving your vision for your business. They're often not aligned with what you really want in the long term, but you're making them because you feel like you have to avoid this fear in the short term. One of the reasons I'm such a big fan of somebody getting a part-time job in the early stages of their business while they get their business off the ground is so that they're not having to make these decisions from this place of fear and urgency, this place of, I need to make money and I need to make it now, because they know that at least they've got some income still coming in. So they can make decisions that are a bit more aligned with the long term of the business rather than this short-term need to bring cash flow in. And, those better decisions, that the decisions that serve that longer term vision, that is how you build a business that is profitable and sustainable in the long term and isn't just reliant on you working so hard in the short term to keep bringing sales in. Question number 4, where are we leaving money on the table? James Wedmore has this beautiful quote. I don't know where I came across it, probably on his podcast. And he says, you are always leaving money on the table, always. And I agree with this because there is always more ways you can serve your audience, more ways you can make sales, following up leads, making sure your audience knows which offer is the best fit for them, making sure they know how it solves the problems they're experiencing, creating new offers to solve new problems that your audience is experiencing, re-engaging past students and clients and finding out what else you can help them with, asking your audience, what else do you need help with right now? And then creating those new offers that help them with what they want, or reworking your old offers to better serve them where they're at right now. These are all some ways that you can stop leaving money on the table in your business. And I talk about this a lot more in Offer Less, Sell More, where I look at how you can uncover these untapped offer ideas within your business and build out an offer suite where your clients come back to buy from you again and again and again, because it's so much easier to engage a past client than it is to constantly try to reach new people. If you're more about Offer Less, Sell More, send me a DM on Instagram. I'm there at stephtaylor.co. Send me OLSM, just one word, or head to stephtaylor.co/OLSM. We'll pop the link to that in the show notes as well. Question number 5, how can we increase course completion rates? Now, with all of my offers, I've always said, if you're going to sign up and let this course gather dust on your shelf of courses that you've bought, I would actually rather that you didn't sign up at all, because it's really important to me that my students finish the courses they sign up for. And while our completion rates are pretty good already, they can always be better. Right? And especially when one of the big hesitations that's coming up is I've bought so many courses that I don't use. So for me, it means looking at things like, how can we help them to learn and apply the concepts better? One of those ways is by catering to different learning styles. Some people learn better by watching a video. Some people learn better by listening. Some people learn better by reading a transcript. So for example, in Launch Magic, we give all 3 of those for each lesson to make sure that we are appealing to those different learning styles. I also look at how can we incentivize action. So for example, in Launch Magic, we have little mini challenges along the way where For example, somebody can submit their lead magnet, their launch lead magnet that they've created. And if they submit it by the deadline, they go in to win a launch lead magnet review by me. That encourages somebody who is maybe spending a little while trying to be a perfectionist about their lead magnet to get it done and submitted so that I can potentially review it for them. And the caveat here, of course, as a course creator, is that we can't force somebody to take action. And often taking action can be really terrifying. I have said this before. If you're a course creator, you are in the business of behavior change, and behavior change is going to always be met with resistance, fear, procrastination, perfectionism, all of those things, because it is scary. It can be really scary. For example, the podcast launch plan, which is one of my courses that I have given everybody everything that they need, all of the steps that they need to launch their podcast. But until they actually do the thing, they're not going to have a podcast. I've given them all of the steps that they need, but the whole process of recording, of publishing the episode, of putting themselves out there, that can feel really scary to somebody who's never done that before. Okay, question number 6, the last one. What can we simplify? I find it really easy to come up with new ideas and add new things to the business. And my team are amazingly good at executing all of my millions of ideas that I come to them with. But I can often be a little bit too focused on adding new things, and I forget to pause and evaluate whether all the new things are working, whether we need to remove them, whether we need to streamline things. And sometimes that can get a little messy and complicated. And it can lead to us spending time on things that maybe shouldn't require as much time from us. And this also applies to anything where we've been overcomplicating. And sometimes I call myself out on this. For example, if I'm feeling overwhelmed in a launch, I will look at the master project plan that we have in ClickUp for that launch, and I will ask myself, where am I making this more complicated than it needs to be? And then I will remove any unnecessary tasks, because simplicity is a good thing. It can be simple and still be successful, and we don't need to have all of the bells and whistles on every single launch for it to succeed. I've often been midway through a launch where I've been like, actually, you know what? Let's just scrap that part of it altogether because it's just adding too much extra stress to me or to my team. Okay, so there you have it. 6 questions that I am reflecting on as we wrap up 2023 and head into 2024. If you have learned anything from this show, please take 30 seconds to leave a quick rating and a review in Apple Podcasts. I read every single one of them. It means so much to me when you do that. And if you're not already subscribed to the show, hit subscribe so you don't miss every brand new episode released every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thanks so much for listening. Catch you next time.